By law, there's no executive producer.
Will the radio stations still pay royalties?
You go to program and they give them diabetes and biscuit. You know diabetes?
Is there an international law that breaks through every other country for copyright?
Hello. This is Bnoskka. I'm telling you, welcome once again to Bnoskka IP Zone, brought to you by Apprise Music. Apprise Music does music publishing and distribution on all the digital platforms, and we are here to serve you better. And so if you think of making money out of music, look no further. Come to Apprise Music and you will be sorted out. Of course, it is Apprise. Now, today we want to look at copyright administration all over the world, and then we'll narrow it to Africa, and then we'll come home to Nigeria, to Ghana, to South Africa, to all the other individual countries we have within the continent of Africa. Who want to start to introduce themselves first? Oh, it says you. Please, your name.
My name is Oduro. I'm from Nigeria. I'm the programs manager for Africa's Future Economic Leaders, AFEL. And I am here in partnership with Apprise Films, and it is a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Fantastic. Yes.
And I'm sure everybody knows me by now, but I'll still introduce myself. I'm Margaret Doe, but prefer you call me Mex. I'm a recording artist.
Now, today our topic is going to be on copyright administration. When we say copyright administration, what does it really mean? So that you, as an artist in wherever field you find yourself, will be able to understand what is a copyright administration. Copyright administration by law means that the means through which protection is granted on copyright. Okay, so patent is different from copyright, trademark is different from copyright, design right is different from copyright, plant variation is different from copyright. Okay, copyright is basically the expression of ideas in terms of fixation, fixed in a literary work, that is a book, a musical work, audio, visual, sound recording, artistic work, choreography. It can be a derivative, it can be a computer software code, it can be painting, it can be sculpture, it can be fashion patterns of designs of materials, and all these. Once it is plated down, once it is fixed in a fixed medium, then it means it is copyright eligible, okay? And so how do we administer it? Now, the whole world thought of how to administer copyright in the international world. And so therefore, in the year 1886, the world leaders met in Italy, a place called Bern. And so Berne, Bern Convention was created in 1886, and then out of that we had the Bern Convention, and so it was the first artistic and literary works protected. So that is how it came about. So therefore, any country that rectifies that law in their country, it means anybody who creates works in copyright is protected by those countries that have rectified it in their country. All right, so therefore we also have what we call African Regional Intellectual Property Organization, ARIPO. ARIPO simply means that all the English-speaking countries within Africa have their head office in Zimbabwe, called their capital Harare, and that is where the head office of ARIPO is, and it's meant to protect works which are in trademark, in patents, and in copyright, and in other intellectual property that you think you would want to protect it. So you can register under ARIPO, or you can come to national. National here, it means individual countries. For example, Ghana, we have our copyright office in Adabraka under the Ministry of Justice and Attorney General. If you go to Nigeria, they have their copyright office. It used to be in Lagos, their copyright head office, but it's now moved to Abuja. Now, what National seems to do is that if you are a citizen of that particular country, if you want your work to be protected within that country, then it means you must have the legal residence to be in that country. So, for example, in Ghana, if you're an artist here in Ghana and you don't have any records that shows that you are a Ghanaian, it means when you create your works, you are not protected under Ghanaian law. You must be a Ghanaian by citizen, either by birth or you have the legal residency. So, for example, let's take, for example, you are a South African, you are in Ghana, and you are supposed to stay here for 6 months, and within that 6 months, you create a work. You are protected by Ghanaian copyright law. And then you can also go to your country and still go and register under national. Now, if you are here and your stay of period has expired and you create any work, you cannot go to copyright office to go and register because your stay, you are already an illegal here in Ghana. It's the same applies to every country in the world. Now, let's take, for example, if you are in Nigeria and you make your song here, the law in Nigeria and the copyright says that you have to go back to Nigeria and still register with them for your work to be protected. It's the same here also in Ghana. If you're a Ghanaian and you are living in Nigeria or South Africa or anywhere in America or Europe, and if you want your work to be protected within here, once you make it, you have within up to 2 years to come back to Ghana and register here for it to be protected. That is what it means. Now, copyright ownership is automatic by the Berne Convention, as I stated. And then the Copyright Act that we have here in Ghana also affirms that same decision that it is automatic. But the law has made a provision where you can go and seek for legal registration, legal license, to be able to tell us who are the part contributors of the work. Maybe it's a musical work. You are not the one who played the guitar, the bass combo, the drum, the organ, the lead guitar, whatever. So all the people who contributed within that work, you must be able to tell us that these are the people who contributed. So we call them part players. And then, for all you know, maybe somebody invested their money in your copyright work. So that person also becomes a right owner in the work. So his name must also be written so that everybody would know that this person supervised or sponsored this program. And it's the same applies into movie and into all the other fields of expression of copyright. Now, what is the function of the Copyright Office? This, I want everybody to really understand it very well. The law says that the Copyright Office has a function which is in threefolds. 1, to compile a register of copyright works which have been registered with them. And 2, to publish that register for the public to know the rights or the owners of certain copyright works which have been deposited with them. And 3, to be able to mediate if there is a dispute among musicians or artists or a company or with an artist. So these 3 functions is what they are supposed to do. Now, on the issue of infringement or stolen of copyright material, or somebody downloading somebody's works and selling them at traffic lights. Yeah, Nigerians have stopped, but the Ghanaians are still doing it. I repeat it again. So the Ghanaians will also learn from Nigeria that they have stopped selling people's songs on roadsides and illegally downloading them on pen drives and doing that. Okay, let us stop doing that. So the administration of copyright law does not mean that the Copyright Office must go on traffic joints and be arresting people who are selling people's pictures and those things. Okay? It is not the mandate of the Copyright Office. No. It is rather the artist, because for all you know, it is the artists which have authorized them to be doing that. It's just like walking in the street and then a policeman stops you. This car, have you stolen it or you bought it? No police person would be able to ask you that question because it is not in their mandate. It's when you have reported that my car is missing and I suspect that it has been stolen, and therefore they can be stopping anybody who drives that car and then be able to find out. So by law, the Copyright Office functions are 1. The functions, that they are supposed to do has been stated by the Copyright Act. and they cannot do anything beyond that. So the corporate office shall have officers and employees that are necessary for the proper and effective performance of its function. The staff of the corporate office shall perform such functions that the corporate administrator may assign to them. So the corporate administrator has got power. He is the executive director of the place. The president shall appoint the staff and employees of the corporate office in accordance with Article 195 of the 1992 Constitution of Ghana, on terms and conditions that the president may determine. And then the Legal Service Board may engage the services of consultants and advisors as it considers necessary upon the recommendation of the corporate administrator. Now, public officers may be transferred or seconded to the corporate office, or may otherwise be required to give assistance to the corporate office. And therefore, when corporate office, you go to register your works, they get money. So what does the money should be used for? This is what the law says, that the funds of the operation of the corporate office shall include money approved by Parliament for the office, donations, gifts, and money received from any other source approved by the Minister of Finance. So if you go and register your songs with the corporate office, that money, this is how they must use it. The law says that the budget, the corporate office shall submit to the minister responsible for finance through the minister at the end of each financial year detailed estimates of the budget for the corporate office for the ensuing year. So the corporate office must be able to give a budget, tell us what they are using the money for at the corporate office. And it says they should have an account and audit. The corporate office shall keep books of account and proper records in relation to them. And the books and the records of the corporate office shall be in such form as the Auditor General may approve. And the books and the records of the corporate office shall, within 3 months of the fiscal financial year, be audited by the Auditor General or an auditor approved by the Auditor General, and a report on the audit shall be submitted to the board. And the board here means the board of directors of the corporate office. The financial year of the corporate office shall be the same as the financial year of the government of Ghana. Now, the corporate office is mandated to write annual report, and the report must tell us what kind of works have been deposited with them, how they've used their money, and in the receipts they have gotten out of the activities they did. And then the office shall also submit to the minister that report that they have written to be able to know what have been transpired in terms of administration of corporate law. So the corporate office is there to be able to do a particular task. Now, there's some few words I want us to understand what is meant by advice. In corporate law, because we're talking about administration, when we say advice shall include audio or visual cassette, compact disc, CD-ROMs, VCR, photocopy machines, and any other device used to copy copyright materials. So when you hear a device in law, we are talking about materials that is able to copy copyright materials. That is what it means. And then fixation. Fixation means the embodiment of sounds, images and sounds, or of representations made from them, from which the sounds, images and sounds can be perceived, reproduced, or communicated through a device. So fixation means here in copyright, if you have not fixed your ideas into a fixed medium, it is not protected by law. You are dreaming about a song you think will make the airwaves. You keep on dreaming it. It will not be protected by law. So that is what it means. Now let's look at who is a performer. By Copyright Act, I'm telling you, there is no definition for a musician. There's no definition for an artist. Everybody is a performer. And so therefore, performance by law means the presentation of a work by such action as dancing, playing, reciting, singing, delivering, declaiming, or projecting to listeners or spectators. That is performance. So like I said, If you take your home theater and put it on the street to play, it ceases to be a home theater. It becomes what? A public theater. And so you must pay copyright. So it means you are projecting to a listeners or spectators, and so therefore you have performed it. Now, who is a performer? Performer means the actor, the dancer, the musician, the singer, and any other persons who act, sing, deliver, declaim, play in, or otherwise perform literary or artistic works or expressions of folklore. That is a performer. So you see, we are not defining musician, but we are defining what? A performer. So a performer is a musician. A performer is a singer because he's performing something else. You may say this musician has infringed on your right. What did he do? He performed your works. That is when he infringed your right. You sang your song without authorization. That is when he has infringed on your right. So then let's look at a producer. A producer by law means a person or an entity that finances or organizes a stage performance or production, or undertakes the first fixation of audiovisual work or sound recording. That is what it means by what? Producer. So if anybody finances your work, he's a producer, and so he becomes a part owner of that copyright works. If he organizes stage performance, he's what? He's a producer. Okay? If he also does production, for example, he has a studio and he will produce your music. He will open the microphone, sing it this way, record it this way. He's also what? A producer. So by law, there's no executive producer. By law, they are all producers because they all finance. It is only in movie that the producer is the person who bring the artists on board, and then the director will now, okay, do this, do that. And the executive director is the one who gives in money. The executive director and the producer are both producers by law. So people should understand it. That is what every copyright law talks about, so that we have that kind of understanding clearly. What is public performance? Public performance means, in the case of a work or any other audiovisual work, the recitation, playing, dancing, acting, or otherwise performing the work, either directly or by means of any device or process. In the case of any audiovisual work, the showing of images in sequences and the making of accompanying sounds audible, and in the case of sound recording, making the recorded sound audible at a place or at a place where persons outside the normal circle of the family and its closest acquaintances are or can be present, or irrespectively of whether they are or can be present at the same place at any time or at different places or times, and where the performance takes place. So this is what is defined by public performance. You see? So if you pick any material, let's say your phone, and you are playing, you are supposed to be private. If you open your phone so loud and you are projecting for people to hear, you are performing it. Yes, you are performing it. So we must understand the law regarding performance. Sometimes you may have a small speaker, and then I went to Lagos some time ago, and I saw one guy has a small speaker, and he's playing, and some people are around him. They are listening. It's not a family thing. That's what the law says. It's a public performance. So by law, they have to pay, right? So we must understand all these things. Now, these days when you go to abroad, you find people on the street with their guitar and they are playing. It's a public performance. And we should not forget that there's one term which is in patent law. We call it compulsory license. Compulsory license in patent, which means that if you create any invention for industrial applicability and you have been able to patent it and the patent has been granted to you, you have up to 5 years to implement that patent idea. If you don't implement it and the registration is still there and you have it in your pocket and you are boasting about, I have this patent to do this, and nobody can do, because when you do, you alone have the monopoly. If you don't do, somebody can write to the patent office that Max patent or Aliwade Wild, your song, or what the patent you have, it will be good for the society. So I want a compulsory license to go and reproduce. The state will grant the one who filed the application the license to go and do. But this has not happened in music. If you go to America, we have compulsory license, which by the Copyright Administration. In fact, if you want to do a cover version of somebody's song, you don't need the person's permission. You don't. What you need is to go and take the Compulsory License Act, a law they have passed on compulsory license. Look at how and what to do to be able to meet the compulsory license agreement. The person's name must be there, percentage which you have to pay to that person when royalties start coming is already in the law. So you will have to agree and sign. Once it's done, anywhere you perform the song, the performance fee will be split because it's the person's work. Part of the money will be sent to the person. That is why somebody can make one just song, and because of the copyright administration system, which is working very well, they will be rich and they will never go broke. Okay? Unlike our side here, we don't understand. We think that, even some of the gospel musicians, sometimes I pray God should touch their heart to have a change of mind. You go to program and they give them diabetes and biscuit. You know diabetes? the sugar drinks. The sugar drinks. You should laugh because it is funny. But the unfortunate part is that they don't even understand that they should be able to make money from their craft. They think that they are contributing to the work of God, which is good. But think of your money. As you are growing old, what will you eat? Okay? By copyright administration, it is the work of every musician or every performer to understand that it is your intellectual property, and therefore you must eat out of that. If you don't do, what will become of you? Let me end here and ask my guest in the studio questions and answers, and those in the studio.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes, wow.
So earlier you mentioned about protected work, and you said, say, for example, a Nigerian in Ghana creates a work, and then it is protected for up to 2 years, and then you have to pay for it.
No, it is protected forever, but if you have to go back to your country to go and register, in Ghanaian law, it says that the Ghanaian who lives outside Ghana has within 2 years to come back to Ghana and register it here.
Okay. So my question now is, if at the time you created the work, you were in Ghana legally, and then for some reason, after the creation of the work, you broke the law and then you were deported or something like that, and Ghana says, don't come back to our country. Is there still a way for you to copyright that production?
Oh yes, once the work has been created and you have gotten protection over it here, that protection still works. Even if you will not come, you have assigned your rights to the collective management organization in Ghana. So they will still get your money and pay it to you without you coming back. So that the law works, finds a ways and means to make sure things works. Yes, Max?
Bnoskka, I'm thinking if there should be, is there an international law that breaks through every other country for copyright?
Okay, that is the Berne Convention formed in 1886.
Okay.
Yep.
So it works everywhere.
It works everywhere, but your country must meet the condition.
Okay.
For your country to meet the condition, you have to have a copyright law which is in conforms to the Berne Convention, because the artist's lifetime, 70 years, must be in your copyright law. 2, you must have a copyright office. 3, you must have a system where royalties is collected so that they know that you are doing the right thing. Then you can rectify that law in your country. So that is what it means. Yes. Okay, now audience. Now let's go to the audience, give them microphone quickly, and then we see today everybody's looking beautiful and handsome and lovely. They are all in Apprise t-shirt. Yes. So please mention your name quickly. What's your name?
Hi, Bnoskka. I'm curious. You mentioned about in America, for instance, if you want to be a cover song of an artist, you just fill a form and then it's
license.
When it comes to a situation like in Ghana, you want to do a cover art. Does something like this also
No,
applies to-
we don't have compulsory licenses in Ghana. Until we pass that law in Ghana, no, you need to go and speak to the artist. Yeah. So that's a straight answer. That was Philip. Yes? Yes?
My question is not a big question,
Yeah.
it's a concern. From what you have said, I think that everybody has breaking the law.
Okay, we thank God that everybody has breaking, but unfortunate.
Because that thing that you said, if I play music outside with my friends, I have to pay that.
Yes.
You should review it.
They should not review it, but it's going to help the artist. You see, if you are using it for a purpose of education, that is okay with your friends. But the moment you say, okay, Charlie, come to my place, come and listen to this song, but before you enter, you pay 1 cedi. When that one comes in, you have performed it.
So my question would not be,
Yes.
how do we implement, because it's nice,
Yes.
right? How do we implement this to the latter? Because when you were telling me that in Lagos, you mentioned people playing music.
Yeah.
I even saw somebody performing different songs of different artists. We sat and enjoy our time.
Yeah.
How do we implement the law that says pay XYZ amount of royalty to
Okay.
these artists?
So what we do, we need to create what we call performance policy. Performance policy. When we create that performance policy, then we can now make it into a law by making sure that the Senate can sit down and regulate a law and say that if you perform this song here, for 1 minute, pay this amount. For 2 minutes, pay this amount. If you go to other countries, that is what is done. All the nightclubs, the discos and that, they don't play music there for free. Every evening when they finish, they have a log system they have created to show that we played Burna Boy, we played Shatawale, we played Wizkid, we played Davido, we played Kofi Kinata and all that. So once that system is in place, then whoever that plays will be able to now make money from that. And that is what I encourage everybody we should do. See, if you look at the article, Title 17 of the American Constitution, it talks about copyright. And it's about 270-something pages. Our copyright law here, Act, in Ghana and both Nigeria, it's not up to 200 pages. It's not even 100. It's not. Americans have taken their time to make sure that every aspect of the law is protected, even including digital, the DCM that they have passed. They get the digital copyright module that they have passed in America. It tells you that they are up to speed with time, but we are yet to get there. So we should try as much as possible to make sure that we get there. So one last question.
So my question is,
Yes.
If you pay as an emerging artist, if you pay
As a performer, use the word.
okay, as a performer,
Good.
but this one, I'm just asking a question based on artists, like
Okay.
musicians.
Yeah, also.
If you are an emerging artist and then you pay a radio station to play your song for some number of durations,
Yeah.
if I understand you correctly, will the radio station still pay royalties?
Yes, they will pay royalties from the money they collected from you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to be clear on that.
Yeah, sure. Yes, Philip, one last one.
Yes, one last question. I understand that when it comes to copyright, the moment you create a work, it's copyright protected.
Yeah.
Unless you register it or not.
Yeah.
So if I'm a Ghanaian and I'm living in Nigeria and I create a work and automatically it's protected, then let's say I spend 3 years. From your earlier submission, you mentioned that if you don't come to Ghana to register it, copyright will not protect. Doesn't the automatic creation
Works.
and
Okay.
being Ghana, I'm sure Nigeria is part of the convention that
Don't be sure. You have to speak to fact. Well, because this is public education, you have to speak to fact. I don't know what the Nigerian copyright decree talks about foreigners in their country. I'm yet to read that. Until I read that, I cannot say that what you are saying is a factual or not. Okay? But what the Ghanaian one is saying is what I'm telling you, that if you are outside Ghana and you write it and you want it, you see, the reason why the law makes it in such a way that if that country where you are residing as a Ghanaian have not ratified Berne Convention, it means automatically the geographical origin of where you created the work does not fall within Ghana. So you are not protected. That is what it means. In law, anything you do has an origin, and one of the origin is the one who created. Where does it come from? and where he's doing, the geographical origin to where is it? Is it in Ghana? How do you want us to protect you when you are in Jamaica? And that is how, when war situation comes, countries will want to go and bring their citizens from those war countries into their country so they can be able to protect them. That is what it basically means. Let's see the audience in the house, and then so that we'll clap for them. Please, cameraman, show them. Yes, this is Apprise music. We are so happy for all of you coming. We are so happy. Cheers. Thank you so much. This is Bnoskka, brought to you by Apprise Music, and we are happy for you to have joined us. And this is Apprise Music. If you need to do distribution and promotion, look no further. Come to Apprise Music. Of course, this is Apprise. Thank you.
Oh.